Good evening, welcome. Thank you for joining us. This is the Marion City Council regular meeting for Thursday, November 6th, 2025. Special welcome to the members of Troop 68 who are with us in the audience today. Hopefully there's a future mayor or a council member in your group. We're going to start by asking them to come up front and lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. So please rise. Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Thank you, gentlemen. Please be seated. Roll call, please.
Mr. Jensen,
Here.
Mr. Harper,
Here.
Mr. Miskimen,
Here.
Mayor Abou-Wassily,
Present.
Ms. Menser,
Here.
Mr. Brandt,
Here.
Mr. Sternad.
Here. Thank you. This time we have a moment of silence. Thank you. First item on our agenda this evening is a proclamation for Veterans Day. We will be presenting this proclamation to a group of veterans next week on Veterans Day at the Hy-Vee breakfast that they host every year for local area veterans. So I'll just read the proclamation. Whereas the history of the United States is rich with the deeds of Marion residents who served in our armed forces with honor and distinction, and whereas our country is forever indebted to our veterans for their courage and exemplary service, and whereas we honor those who laid down their lives in freedom's defense and made the ultimate sacrifice for our benefit, and whereas on Veterans Day we salute the women and men who have proudly worn the uniform of the United States of America and the families who have served alongside them, and we express our enduring gratitude, both in words and actions, for their service. And whereas these brave men and women and their selfless sacrifices continue to inspire us today as we work to advance peace and extend freedom around the world, and whereas their patriotism and devotion to the ideals on which the United States is founded provide a source of permanent inspiration to ensure our unwavering support as a community. And whereas through their commitment to freedom, our veterans have positively impacted millions of lives and made our country and the world more secure, and the city of Marion resolves that their sacrifices will always be remembered. Now, therefore, I, Nicholas Abou-Wassily, Mayor of the City of Marion, Iowa, do hereby proclaim November 11th, 2025 as Veterans Day in the City of Marion, and reaffirm the deep appreciation of a grateful community for their patriotism, sacrifice, and service of our veterans. Okay, and again, we'll be presenting that next week. First item on the agenda this evening, or the next item, is our first public forum. We have two public forums at our meetings. The first is for any topic that is on the agenda but not part of a public hearing. And then there will be a second public forum at the end of the meeting for all other topics. I would like to review the rules for public forums. Please fill out the yellow card if you intend to address the city council. The cards are found at the end of the table. And complete the card, and when you come forward to speak, hand the card to the city clerk. Please do not approach the dais where the council is sitting. If you have handouts, submit them to the city clerk for distribution to the council. Once you're called forward, please step up to the podium and speak into the microphone as the meetings are recorded. You're encouraged to state your name, address, and any group affiliation. All persons wishing to address the council are provided a maximum of 5 minutes to make their comments. Please do not repeat any comments made by previous, by people speaking prior to you. Please do not engage in speech that is imminently threatening to any person or which incites violence or which is obscene. Please refrain from making disparaging remarks regarding any individual, but keep your comments pertinent to the topic. Please do not engage in conduct that disrupts the orderly progress of the meeting or engage in speech or conduct that interferes with others' ability to participate in the meeting. Failure to adhere to these guidelines or engaging in any disruptive speech or behavior will, after a warning, result in removal from the meeting. We appreciate everyone's cooperation in adhering to these rules of procedure. So at this time, we have the first public forum. If anyone is here to address the council on any topic that is part of on the agenda but not part of a public hearing, you can come forward now. If you want to address a topic that is part of a public hearing, there will be time during the public hearing for those comments. So anyone here to address the council on any topic that is part of the agenda but not part of a public hearing? Okay, seeing no one's coming forward, we will close this part of the meeting and proceed to the consent agenda.
Mayor, I move to approve the consent agenda as follows. Items A1 through E6, resolutions 32609 through 32626.
Second. It has been moved and seconded to approve the consent agenda as presented, including items A1 through E6, resolutions 32609 through 32626. Discussion? Okay, all those in favor of approving the consent agenda as presented, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say no. The motion is approved. For the next section, I will turn over the meeting to the Mayor Pro Tem.
Mayor Pro Tem, I move to approve the consent agenda with Mayor Abouassali's abstention as follows. Items D1 through D3, resolutions 32627 through 32629.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the consent agenda with the mayor's abstention. As follows, items D1 through D3, resolutions 32627 through 32629. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries with the mayor's abstention. After that, I will pass it back to the mayor.
Mayor, I move to approve ordinance number 25-28, amending section 242-16 of the Marion Code of Ordinances related to hours of operation of peddlers, solicitors, and transient merchants. This is the final consideration.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the third and final consideration of ordinance number 25-28, amending section 242-16 of the Code of Ordinances relating to the hours of operation for peddlers, solicitors, and transient merchants. Any discussion? Okay, we'll vote. All those in favor of the final consideration of ordinance number 25-28, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say no. The motion is approved.
Mayor, I move to approve ordinance number 25-29, amending chapters 313-4.4B of the Code of Ordinances establishing the speed limit on Winslow Road. This will be final consideration.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the third and final consideration for ordinance number 25-29, amending chapter 63 of the Code of Ordinances, establishing the speed limit on Winslow Road. And as a reminder, we have the changes on the screen. Any discussion?
Your Honor.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Mike, I think I asked at one of our last meetings, availability of signage, and I think you said that was forthcoming or available. How fast will this be re-signed?
So we have to wait for the clerk to do the official duties and make it part of city code, and then Tom is ready to have his team install them.
Okay, okay, thank you.
Okay, any other discussion? All those in favor of the final consideration of ordinance number 25-29, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say no. The motion is approved.
Mayor, I move to approve ordinance number 25-30, amending chapter 340 of the Marion Code of Ordinances related to zoning definitions, compatibility with the comprehensive plan, and nonconforming uses pertaining to lots. This is from the city of Marion, and it is the final consideration.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded to approve the third and final consideration for ordinance number 25-30, amending chapter 340 of the Code of Ordinances relating to the zoning definitions, compatibility with the comprehensive plan, and nonconforming uses pertaining to lots in the city. Any discussion? All those in favor of the third and final consideration of ordinance number 25-30, please say aye. All those opposed, say no. The motion is approved. Next item is a public hearing regarding amendments to chapter 340-11.1 of the Code of Ordinances relating to the Zoning Board of Adjustment. We have a presentation. Nicole?
Good evening, Mayor and City Council. So this is in response to a state bill that was passed, the House File 652, regarding the Zoning Board of Adjustment and the review criteria for variances. So the main items that were adjusted within our code section here are just clarifications mainly for variances regarding to numerical review. So area, dimensional, so we're looking at setbacks or something like the number of signs that may be permitted. So this code update kind of aligns with the state code that was passed. Then, like I said, really just clarifies what the variance review pertains to. It also lessens that degree of unusual hardship to practical difficulty. It's not much of a change, but it is a slight change.
Okay. So these changes are necessitated by a state code that we need to comply with, just for
Correct.
everyone's understanding. Okay. All right, any discussion? Oh, I'm sorry. Stay on hand here for discussion later. The public hearing is now open. If anyone's here to address the council, either in favor or in opposition to this measure, please come forward. Okay, have we received comments outside the meeting? Ask the clerk and then we'll ask.
No
No.
comments were received.
We have not received any comments.
Okay, please note that for the public record, and we'll close the public hearing and proceed to the motion.
Your Honor, I move to approve ordinance number 25-31, amending chapter 340-11.1 of the Marion Code of Ordinances related to zoning board of adjustment, and this is our initial consideration.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve ordinance number 25-31 regarding the amendments to chapter 340-11.1 of the Code of Ordinances relating to the zoning board of adjustment. Any discussion?
Question.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Nicole, is there a due date by which we have to have this codified and completed?
Ideally, it would have happened before July 1st. However, we did not have the drafted proposed amendments to review. So anything right now is still reviewed based off of the state legislation. So this is just getting our code cut up to that.
Okay. Okay, good. So we've been using state code to guide our reviews locally.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
So in that change, the threshold then for, it makes it easier to have something approved, a variance approved, because the
It's like
criteria is slightly less
It is a slightly easier
restrictive.
wording than a hardship, but we're still looking at it being a difficulty. It's very lot specific. We're looking at topography, character of the neighborhood. Is it something that had been in place prior? There are things that they need to prove that their request is in line still with what the code intent is.
Okay, thanks. Any discussion? Okay. All those in favor of approving ordinance number 25-31, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say no. The motion is approved. Thanks, Nicole. The next item is a public hearing on the amendments to Chapter 340, zoning regulations pertaining to definitions, district use tables, and specific use standards of the Marion Code of Ordinances relating to auxiliary dwelling units. We have a presentation.
Yes, I did not go far. So this is another code amendment that is being brought before you to align our city codes with the state code. This is in response to State File 592. So as a part of those aligning our codes, we're starting with definitions. For efficiency, we're recommending that we combine accessory building, structure, and accessory use into one definition versus having three separate definitions. And then we're clarifying what a dwelling unit is. That's more of a group of rooms together that have to include cooking facilities, living facilities, restroom facilities, those sort of things. So it's kind of more defining what that dwelling unit is, and then simplifying what principal building and principal use are for definitions. And then as well, something with the state regulations is that any residential zoning district that allows a single family or one unit dwelling, we need to allow an accessory dwelling unit as well. We can't require stricter review than what that one unit dwelling would have. So Marion has had it in place. We've allowed ADU since 2018. However, with this code updates, we can no longer require a conditional use review process. So they just have to be permitted as a right. So we are updating our tables to allow them as permitted as a right. Some of them we didn't even allow through the conditional use process. And then in our UTR 1 and UTR 2, those are our urban transitional residential districts here in the central corridor. They were already permitted by right, so they're not up on the screen. Those will continue to be permitted by right. And then we're also updating the specific use standards. So we have a section for accessory buildings and uses. And in that section, it's really clarifying that that section does not pertain to the accessory dwelling units, that there is their own section. The setback and regulations are different between the two different groups. So the dwelling units, auxiliary or ADUs, again, it's something we've had in place since 2018. However, with the state updates, we did have to go in and kind of do a decent overhaul to our code regulations. The main ones are, again, we can't be any stricter than what we would review a one unit house with. We also can't require one of the units to be owner occupied. So if someone wanted to, they could rent both units out. They've also, within theirs, which ours is aligning with, is the size that is allowed. So maximum of 1,000 square feet or 50% of that primary home, whichever is larger. So currently ours was only at 700 square feet as a maximum. So that does allow for a larger ADU than what we were permitting. We've also made sure that we've clearly defined out that they still need to meet the regulations of SUDAS, our various building codes as well, when it pertains to egress, when it pertains to driveway widths. The state says that you can't require a driveway, and to align with SUDAS, we only have certain widths that each lot can have. So it's making sure that those clarifications are laid out within this specific use standards for these. And everything has been run by legal, and we've made sure that they are complying with the state guide or state regulations.
Okay, thank you. At this time, the public hearing is open. If anyone's here to address the city council, either in favor or in opposition to this measure, please come forward. Okay, we'll ask the staff if anyone's offered comments outside the meeting.
No comments were received.
We have not received any comments.
Thank you. Please note that for the record. We'll close the public hearing and proceed to the motion.
Mayor, excuse me, Mayor, I move to approve ordinance number 25-32, amending chapter 340 zoning regulations pertaining to definitions, district use tables, and specific use standards of the Marion Code of Ordinances related to auxiliary dwelling units or ADUs. This is the initial consideration.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to approve ordinance number 25-32, amending chapter 340 of the Code of Ordinances pertaining to definitions, district use tables, and specific use standards related to auxiliary dwelling units. Discussion. Yes, Steve?
One question, Nicole. You stated that the accessory dwelling unit can be a maximum of 50% of the
Primary house.
primary house. So if it's a two-story, say 3,000 square foot, but 1,500 square foot on each floor,
Mhm.
is it the 1,500 square foot, that footprint that is taken into consideration when you compute the 50%?
So that it's not fully clear within the state regulations. It's been through the planning realm, and the interpretation is that it would be that the outline or the footprint of the home and not
Okay.
necessarily floor by floor.
That'd be the most logical, I would assume, but I wanted to make, if it was anything different, I would probably be asking for consideration of the other direction. So if that's what you're going by, I'm okay with that.
Anyone else? Okay, we'll vote. All those in favor of ordinance number 25-32, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say no. The motion is approved. The next item is a discussion on the financial contribution to Marion Food Pantries. Who's leading that discussion? It's among the council? Okay, so this was suggested by Councilmember Miskimen, and we'll just let him lead the discussion, and we'll
Sure.
go from there. Okay.
Thank you. Yeah, with everything kind of going on, surrounding food pantries and SNAP and the winter months already being the busiest months for food pantries. I had just reached out to some of the food pantry folks who help organize around town last week, and a lot of them were telling me, and I have some numbers here too. A lot of them were telling me that they were already kind of feeling the busyness was starting to happen. So just for example, some numbers, typically just for Churches of Marion Pantry, they typically serve around 120 families or over 500 individuals. Majority of those are from Marion, but they do get some crossover from Cedar Rapids residents and also our rural communities as well in the area. They fully expect that need to increase more during the already busiest time of year. They already work with HACAP to kind of utilize some of that partnership and getting supplies around. And I know some of the stores help them with pricing to get lower prices since they're buying for the food pantry and buying in bulk. However, in recent years, they also stated that they already had to scale back, but want to be able to increase offerings such as making sure there's a protein item per person, per family. And that's not something they're always able to do. We also have a couple other church food pantries in Marion, but MISD and Linn-Mar both have pantries, and both help students, of course, but they also help the greater community, and the MISD pantry specifically helps. They have a sign up link so anybody in the community can access it if they'd like. They're in their third year at MISD, currently serving 75 individuals in Marion, but that need has been going up. So they're always kind of looking for help, and especially now they were really excited. They told me that they do have a fridge with the pantry now, so they're able to kind of get milk, like eggs, and it also serves as a The pantry itself is located within the former Star Elementary, so it also serves as a work skill opportunity for students or graduates in like transition. And then just for the record, the Linmark Pantry operates on a need basis for families district-wide, mainly used for high school students in need. They currently have a couple students receiving weekly bags of food that are in need, and other families within the district are using it. They mainly, same with Marion, utilize donations just from the community. They don't necessarily have those larger partnerships like some of the church pantries do. Some school clubs host food drives periodically, and sometimes monetary donations are received. But they're looking at more need too as time goes by. So I was just thinking from the council perspective, I know citywide we're doing a food drive led by the fire department, utilizing our facilities for food drop-offs. But that got me thinking about, you know, what financial aspect can the council play? And then during that thinking last week, the state and Governor Reynolds announced that they'd be doing matching grants to donations to the regional food banks, which our regional food bank is HACAP. Since those conversations last week, Cedar Rapids earlier this week announced that they'll be voting at their next round of council meetings, I think up to 25,000 to HACAP. And Lynn County yesterday allocated 80,000 to HACAP. So in theory, that doubles what they're doing because the state matches that. So I just wanted to bring it to the table here. If council had interest in also doing that, my thought was, you know, there's the two options. If we were to do this, we could also donate to HACAP, or we could donate to a specific or allocate funding to specific pantries. And if we did it the HACAP way, I would just like to make sure that, you know, that impact is directly being felt to the Marion pantries and specifically our school district pantries that I think are probably traditionally overlooked through programs like this, from my understanding. So just kind of wanted to bring that to the table, see what people's thoughts were, questions,
Okay,
how the mechanisms work.
anyone have any thoughts or anything to offer to the?
Question.
Go ahead.
So Gage, you know, I know that the state is doing a match. And so if the money goes to HACAP, that would be matched. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's the theory. I think the state's matching it up to a certain amount, and then that's divided by the region. So I think
Okay.
the region has a certain amount.
So if we gave the money directly to the Marion pantries, would that money be matched?
Not to my knowledge, no. So that's kind of the question I have.
You want to maximize the benefit of anything that we do.
Yep, absolutely.
So if we give the money to HACAP, and it sounds like that would double the benefit, can we be fairly assured that at least quite a bit of that would get to these Marion pantries that you've outlined?
And that would be my question, I guess, for staff in terms, because I think those end up being, when you allocate those money, there's a certain agreement that has to be signed. So I don't know who I'm looking at. I'm seeing people point around.
Mayor, I could
Yeah,
add.
go ahead.
to that. In our communication with HACAP, with the drive that the city is doing right now, they shared that all the donations would go into their centralized warehouse location, which is intended to supply based on need, you know, through all of their systems. So it wouldn't just be focused on one geographical area of all of the pantries that they serve. So, but it would be primarily driven off of need, is our understanding. They also shared, and I think understandably so, the logistics and the coordination with the demand and also the supply that's coming in, which is fantastic to help support the need, is putting a strain on them. And we've been in communication to let us know how we can help when that time arises.
Is there any sense of how much they do in Marion? I mean, just as part of their entire system?
I don't
We
have.
don't have a sense of
I
that.
don't,
Yeah.
no.
I mean, need is need wherever it is. And if we want to help, I think, I think we just
Maximize it.
maximize it. That would be my thought, is to maximize it. Do the food pantries in Marion, they have access to HACAP?
Yes. there
Yeah,
are
so
three.
they have access to request supplies from them. Okay.
What about the school?
At the schools too?
I don't know about the schools. From the emergency management map, the schools are not identified.
I mean, that's something we
as-
could talk to them about to add the school pantries if they could, to give them access. I mean, I'd be willing to do that personally. I don't,
Yeah.
you know.
We can reach out to them there, see if that's.
Yeah. Yeah. Awesome. Okay, Sarah, go ahead.
Do we know, because I think our goal, we support, as you know, the city, the garden here at City Hall supports the Churches of Marion Food Pantry during the summer. So we have a relationship with that pantry. My question is, because I'd like to see it go as directly to the Marion locations as possible, but I understand the match side of it. I'm curious, hearing the different, because I'm kind of tracking this in the news, hearing the different organizations and agencies and others who have donated, I thought it was up to $1 million the state would match.
Mhm.
Do we know if we're at that? Like if that has been exceeded, then maybe our match wouldn't be able to happen if it had already been.
So that's what I was thinking.
Yeah, because I'm like, then I would just be like, give it straight to the Marion locations if we can't access that match. If we can, and if we can work something out where the school districts, if we know their ability to access
So
that.
just a point of clarification, is the expectation that we'd actually, are we able to vote on something tonight or bring it back to the next meeting? Like get some more information and decide at the next meeting?
The idea today is to have the discussion and direction, and staff would bring it back because we would need to have an
Okay.
MOU with
Yeah.
wherever we're going to donate funds. So even if
Okay.
you voted the next time, that would still, we could authorize an MOU with those entities.
And are you looking for like an amount or just whether or not this, we're supportive?
Yeah, supportive and amount would be helpful.
Is there anyone who thinks this isn't necessary or, wouldn't be supportive of it? So I think we have probably consensus on support. Now amounts. What's a reasonable amount? You said Cedar Rapids is 25,000?
Doing up to 25.
Up to
for
25.
voting. So
Anybody have thoughts on?
I guess I would ask where, if any amount, where would it come from?
Yeah.
We would suggest hotel motel dollars. We've been exceeding what we anticipated in revenue there. And it's flexible dollars as far as general purpose. And it's
Steve?
paid for by visitors.
How much are we exceeding? Approximately.
Can we go back to that while she looks it up?
Yeah.
Question? Anyone have any other thoughts? Grant, go ahead.
Well, I appreciate Sarah's comments regarding having an understanding of whether or not the state participation has already been eclipsed. And hopefully that information can be gathered quickly because that would then inform what we do at our next session relative to, I agree, if the state funding has already been utilized effectively, then we should really target our contributions to our local pantries.
I agree.
So.
I mean, the initial thought that entered my mind is 10,000, but if I don't, it's just, I have no basis for it. It's just, it just seemed like that would be a significant amount that we could actually make a difference with.
absolutely.
That we could afford to give as an unbudgeted amount, it's because, so. You have something to add, Leanne?
Yeah, I just wanted to provide, like, through the month of October, we have collected 58% of our budget for the year. So like this current fiscal year, we're trending above. And then just for context as well, our fiscal year ending July 1, 2025.
Yeah.
I should say starting.
Yeah.
We had a balance of over 560,000. So we do have money there.
We're in good shape.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just, yeah, it's, with it being unbudgeted, it's just hard to come up with a number, but that's just my suggestion would be 10, but if anybody has any other thoughts, it should be more or less. Go ahead.
Do we have any way to understand what the demand is for our local pantries right now? I'm sure they keep some stats on that, but if they were to say in equivalent timeframe, year over year, they're running at, 75% over what their typical draw is, that also might influence the value or the amount of money that we would want to allocate. The footnote that I would just put to that is I certainly could get comfortable with up to 20K if that still fits with the source funding that Leanne just outlined to us. But I think really we ought to be guided by what's the draw on the pantries right now.
Gage?
Yeah, first of all, I would say, yeah, I think within the 10 to 20K range is appropriate. What was interesting in the conversations with some of the pantries, especially the Church's Marion pantry, it's kind of hard to measure specific price amounts to what they're doing because that need does fluctuate. It just happens to be a lot more in these last months. So, they're talking about, if they were to get a certain amount of funding, they measure it more in the difference of, how full a meal kit can be for the families that they know they're serving. So it's not necessarily they're going to have more number, but it's also what can a kit be? In an ideal scenario, they'd like to be able to provide that protein item. They're able to provide a box of pasta, but the amount of funding that they have might be the difference between being able to provide that box of pasta and a jar of sauce or no jar of sauce and just the pasta.
Right.
So what it does is makes a fuller meal for these families who are already being served too.
Mayor,
Yes, sir.
if I could offer, it sounds like there is interest.
Yeah.
We could connect with HACAP to learn about their connection with the local school districts on their support. And then also try to gather some data on what's happening in regards to the local stores at the pantries in Marion. Bring that information back to share with you at the next council meeting to help inform a possible decision.
Appreciate that. Yeah. Everyone okay with that?
Yeah.
So we'll have better information to actually decide on the number. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Is that okay with everybody? Does that seem reasonable? Okay. Good discussion. Thanks for bringing it up, Gage. Of course. Okay, the next item is our second public forum, which is time for comments from members of the public on any topic. If anyone's here to address council, please come forward. Well, you could do it afterwards if you'd like, but just do turn it into the city clerk and then, just let us know your name and address and any affiliation. Thank you.
Right. My name is Robin Ginther. I live at 1695 11th Street here in Marion. And I had not planned to speak today, but I work for Metro Catholic Outreach, which is the food pantry in Cedar Rapids.
Okay.
I'm the food pantry manager there. And I can speak to what we've been seeing for the last 2 weeks. We've been increasing for quite a while, but last week, so we generally serve 150 families every week. Last week, we filled up our first day before closing and we turned away over 200 families. So that's twice what we normally see.
Wow.
This week I added 50 to the distribution. So we gave out 200 boxes this week and we still turned away over 100 families. So the need has increased a lot these last 2 weeks. Mostly it seems to be preparation or fear of what is coming.
Yeah.
But
We appreciate that perspective. Thank you. It's very great. It's great that you're here. You happen to be here for this discussion because that's really good perspective. I mean, from someone who's actually, on the front line.
yeah, so I've been working my crews pretty hard. We're giving out more food. We are a HACAP partner. And the way HACAP works is you have a partnership with them. So you have a contract with them every year. So I don't know which pantries here in Marion have that contract, but they distribute to their partners is how it
Where is your pantry located?
It's downtown Cedar Rapids, right by Kathy's Pies, if you know where that is.
Yes, of course. Yeah.
So.
I'm at Kathy's a lot.
Good.
I bring treats to the,
Volunteers.
I bring treats to the council meetings sometimes.
But if anybody has questions for me, I can be available for a little bit afterwards too.
Nice.
But like I said, there is a big need right now. We are
Yeah,
seeing that increase.
I'm just hearing so much about it, but also it's encouraging that there's been good response in the community.
Mhm.
People are responding, restaurants are offering what they can, it just seems like the community is also responding, which says a lot about where we live. But
We've been seeing that too. We've been seeing
yeah.
a lot of response and a lot of people just
Yeah.
stepping up.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that part's been good.
Well, it's great because I think we set the tone for what it means to be a community. I think in this region, people are good people and willingness to jump in and help. But there certainly is a lot of need, and you can sense that it's rising. So, thank you for your comments.
Yep. Thank you.
Okay. Anyone else to address the city council? Please come forward. Okay, we'll close that part of the meeting and proceed to council comments. We'll start with Councilmember Sternat.
Thank you. I don't have anything.
Okay,
I do tonight.
go ahead.
It's been a while. I want to congratulate the Marion Wolves competition cheer team. This last weekend, they took first place at state.
Let's go.
So they're back-to-back state champions.
Wow.
They won last year too. So congratulations to the cheer team, especially to my daughter Sierra, who's on the cheer team, and all the girls. They did a fantastic job. I don't know if anyone knows anything about cheer competitions, but they won at state by 6 points, which is huge in a cheer competition. They blew away the competition.
Nice.
So it was fantastic. Had a great time. Congrats, girl.
Team that's in games.
Well, oh,
Yeah, that was me.
okay. Sarah, sorry. That was you.
Yeah, I had office hours. We're back at the library, so I was there last Saturday morning and had a couple of really good conversations with some residents, just asking about kind of what's next for the aquatic center. But so we talked a lot about that, but they were all, the few that I talked to that day were all appreciative of kind of pumping the brakes and taking the pause and figuring out what the right time, what the right project is for the community and how we get it done. So I just appreciated those conversations. The morning started off kind of slow for the first one. It was the day after Halloween. So I didn't have high expectations on people coming in, but I had some really good conversations and was really pleased with that.
So this item I've already communicated internally with Mike and his team, but I received a compliment today from a resident concerning our garbage and recycling pickup. And I just, quite honestly, I wanted just to get this into the record, partly because I think for the comments that have been passed to me about our change in our program, we're now 14 months into it, 11 months into it, whatever.
Yeah, close.
Yeah, close, plus or minus whatever. We've had a lot of experience and our residents, I think, have been appreciative of the change. But what was passed along to me was many thanks to the men who picked up the garbage along Alburnett Road. It was a very windy day and recognize the challenges that that can create for that activity. But I just want them to know that we feel we receive excellent service. And I admire a job well done. None of us hear positive things enough. I didn't want to let this opportunity pass. Thank you. And so I really think that that's the sentiment that is pervasive. Staff, in all regards, you're doing a good job. you know, we'll deal with the complaints as we must, and we'll do so in manner that is responsive to our residents. But I just thought this was a nice thing to get at 8:43 this morning via a text message. So there you are.
Well, as everybody's been driving around town, you're starting to see all of the lights going up as we're getting ready to celebrate the Christmas time, and our tree is up and ready for the lighting in about another 3 weeks. And I'm just going to let you know, I've done my part. Everything on the outside of my house, the lights are on, they're up. And so I've done my part, ready to start and celebrate. Thank you.
Yeah, on that note, thanks to the crews who are out there putting up all those decorations. It takes a long time. And then they have to take them down again in a couple of months. But it does make a difference, and I think it really impacts the community. People wait for it, and they love seeing the winter lights and the decorations. And just want to remind everyone, it's December 5th when we have the Christmas in the Park. When we light the tree, and we'll have thousands of people down there, and Santa, and the horse and carriage rides, and the works. So it's a great feeling of community and a great celebration. So just want to remind all residents to join us, and we'll be debuting the ice loop. So it should be a really wonderful celebration. I do want to remind residents that the office hours are weekly. Now we're at the library on Saturday mornings, starting at 9 o'clock. It's 9 to 11 every Saturday. So if anyone has questions, comments, ideas, just want to meet your council members, please come see us at the library. We love the engagement. I do want to encourage everyone to participate in the food drive that the fire department is spearheading. This last couple of weeks since the last meeting, I had an opportunity to join Doug Wagner on the morning show at WMT Radio. And it's always a great time and a great opportunity for me to celebrate everything we're working on, and to just talk about Marion. And it's always a fun discussion to get to share all the great things that we're all working on that show. So he usually invites me periodically every couple months to join him for about 10 minutes, and we talk about all things Marion and what's going on. Also, this last week, there's all 10 years that I've been in this position, Cedar Rapids Bank and Trust has a mayor's roundtable where they have the mayors of Marion, Hiawatha, and Cedar Rapids. And there's usually about 100 people in attendance, and we get to share what's going on in our cities and answer questions. And again, I think Marion always stands out as setting the pace and leading the region, and in a community that's truly investing in the community's priorities, that's engaged with the community, that's making things happen, and engaging people in our processes and what we do. We just always really stand out, and people after that event will either send me messages or talk, or just catch me on the way out and say, you know, I just love what's going on in Marion, and there's always a lot of excitement. There are people usually waiting to hear what the next projects are or what we're doing. So that's always again, a very proud moment for me to get to celebrate everything that we're doing to our regional audience. I want to congratulate the people who won in the election. And I want to also just recognize a little bit, follow up a little bit on what Grant said about responding to residents' questions and issues. It really is impressive, I think, how responsive our entire team is, and our city council members and our city manager and everyone. This morning, Ryan joined me in a coffee meeting with a resident who had some issues and questions. you know, that kind of high touch service, I think, again, makes us stand out as an organization and as a city where we really do care about the issues and helping people solve their issues. You know, we have several council members who are working on various neighborhood issues right now and trying to come to workable solutions and making sure that we are responding to people's needs. So I just want to recognize that. I want to thank everyone for continuing to do that. I think it is important, and it's why we're here. We're here to serve people, and it shows that we get that as a team. So thank you. I want to end on just sharing something that's really important to me. Today marks the 50 years today when my parents arrived in the United States with 5 children, and for little else but their belief in the promise of America and their faith in God, and they worked really hard to support us and to help us achieve our dreams. And I can't say enough how grateful I am to them for making that decision, leaving everything that they knew and coming to a whole new place and having to maneuver through a different culture and language barriers, and giving us the opportunity to really achieve to our fullest potential. And from them, I learned to be grateful for everything, first and foremost, and to be grateful for the opportunities I have here. They raised us. I don't know how many times I heard the phrase, "God bless this land." God bless this land. And always taught us to be grateful and to give back and to really, truly add value wherever we can and at every opportunity. And I hope that I'm doing that. Just really proud of the opportunity I have for 10 years now to serve this community in this capacity and to give back. And hopefully I'm making a difference along with my colleagues and every one of you. So you're all part of my story and my family's story, and I appreciate the opportunities you've given me and the credibility that and trust that you've put in me to help lead our city and to make it the best little city in America. So thank you for listening to me. With that, the meeting is adjourned. We'll see you next time.